be doing perks. We're doing perks. All right, baby. We're talking about momentum right now. 35,000 plus views on the last TikTok. I mean, are you joking? Are you kidding me? Johnny's finally doing it. So, listen, nothing crazy. Small little start, but I'll take it. Now, this is going to be a quick little sports podcast for the kids. This is going to be a little sports podcast. I want to discuss the slate of NFL playoff games coming up tomorrow. Actually, I take that back. You're going to be watching this on Saturday morning, and I'm going to be recording this on Friday night. So, you will, the games later today and Sunday for you guys, I'll be discussing. And I think it's a great, clearly it's a great weekend of football, but these matchups specifically are great. I mean, I think that they're all, not Jacksonville, Kansas City, and we'll get to that in a second. But I'll go in order. Each game, boom, 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 boom. So let's get to number one. You got Kansas City laying 9.5 to Jacksonville. Let's keep it real. Jacksonville just isn't that good. I think that it's a weird case. I don't even really know how to kind of break it down, where I think Lawrence is somehow overrated and underrated at the same time. And what I mean by that is, like, guys like Mike Francesa think he's Jesus Christ. When the eyeball test, when I look at him, he's doing okay. Like, when you look at a guy like Herbert, especially in his first and second year, they were electric off the bat. Lawrence is a step below that, in my opinion. Anyway, they advanced. I'm not even going to get into how cursed the Chargers franchise is and how Staley should be fired. No questions asked. I mean, you can't call a game like that in the second half on the offensive side of the ball. You can't do it. Bosa also loved, I guess he wanted to sabotage the team as well. Brutal flag after brutal flag, throwing his helmet, being a little baby. So this is the thing about the Chiefs. And clearly, I mean, the Chiefs are going to win this game. No questions asked. But on a spread, on a points basis, Kansas City's a weird team because they'll play with the team. We've seen this the last couple of years. If they don't really care, if they come out flat, or if they just, like I said, they're not into it, they'll play with a team, let them go up a little bit. They're down at half. Then either they blow them out in the second half, or we've seen this time and time again, they'll be down 1 to 2 points with 40 seconds left. They get the ball back, and then it's boop, boop, boop. Kelsey, Hardman, last year, obviously Tyreek Hill last couple of years. Little dump off to the running back, and guess what? They're in field goal range with 10. They go down the field. They go down 60 yards in like 15 seconds, and they win the game. So I think it's a little dicey laying the points. Having said that, if you're going to play the game, I think you do that. I would not want to be on any type of rooting for the Jacksonville Jaguars side of things. Good coaching, but too young and just flat out not good enough. Flat out not good enough to, in my opinion, cover. I think this could be ugly very quickly. Now, let's move on to the second game, which is probably the best game of the weekend for many reasons. Let's give a little background. So, obviously, I'm from New York, but I went to Penn State, so I'm dealing with a pretty significant amount of Eagles fans that I'm very, very close with. I mean, the 4 years that I was in college with these Eagles fans, I mean, it was wild. Everyone in my area always loved Dawkins and Westbrook when I was a kid. So did I. And I didn't really get the whole Philly situation until, I mean, I always hated the Phillies as a big Yankees fan, but that was more of the team itself. I hated Cliff Lee. I hated guys like that. I hated Victorino, Joe Blanton. I mean, all those guys. I couldn't stand the whole team. Chase Utley. I liked Ryan Howard, though. But anyway, so with football and just like the fans themselves, I didn't get a full picture of what it was about. Fast forward, I go to Penn State. Oh, I know all that it's about. So I grew a tremendous hatred for the Eagles, the Sixers, and the Phillies during my college years were pretty irrelevant, so it really didn't matter. And then on the other hand, I'm a Jet fan. I was a disloyal Jet fan for quite some time. I grew up as a Jets fan, big Curtis Martin guy. Santana Moss was my favorite player. Went to a couple training camps. I loved it. Actually, the last training camp I had been to, I was a child. It was at Hofstra. This is when it was back at Hofstra. And I was waiting. I couldn't wait to see Santana Moss. And guess what? This was the year that in the offseason, a little swap-a-do, they got Lavernius Coles, and they let Santana Moss go fly to the Redskins. So I was very upset. Brutal. Brutes Magoo. But either way, then you got the little bit of a lull. Hard Knocks comes around, and I mean, I was just rejuvenated. When you watch Rex Ryan, it's appointment television. I was all in. Tannenbaum, the whole nine. Back-to-back AFC championships with a game manager. I love the team, the defense, run it down your throat. Thomas Jones, I mean, loved it all. And then after that, again, just a complete joke. And what's crazy to me is that you take a team like this, and this year, how quickly I could get right back into a team. Like this is the most I've ever been into the Jets. It's not even close. I consume so much Jets content, Jets podcasts, Jets talk radio, everything, interviews, write-ups, articles. I love it. I'm a huge Jets guy now. I really am. And so I never had an issue with the Giants, being that I kind of bounced around a little bit. I was just an NFL fan, if you will. I loved fantasy, but rooted for Eli. I honestly, I would say I probably rooted for the Giants the last couple of years, just like because it didn't matter either. I mean, they haven't been good either. But now that I've really immersed myself in the Jets culture and really am back and better than ever. I mean, I'm not even close to as big of a Jets fan as I'm a Yankees fan, obviously. But I mean, I'm really into the Jets. I would say they're easily my second favorite team, period, in sports. So this is how Mets fans must feel, where they get the condescension, the talking down to. I never experienced that. I've always been a Danny Dimes guy. I've always liked Daniel Jones. I thought they didn't give him a chance. I mean, Saquon Barkley, clearly a Penn State guy that I actually I wasn't friends with him, but we were acquaintances, let's put it that way. I was rooting for him. And then this year, boom, the Jets got a little talent on the roster. They're doing their thing, and all of a sudden the parade starts to rain down. And it's a sin because, I mean, everyone in the world knows who knows anything about football. The Jets roster is significantly more talented than the Giants. Now, I know that doesn't mean anything. I get it. I understand. Giants have a much better quarterback. I mean, anyone could have a better quarterback than the Jets at this point. But also incredible coaching, and the Jets have pretty much a lack thereof of coaching. But Giants make the playoffs, and yeah, just comment after comment from some of my friends and a lot of people. Just I don't like the vibes. Let's put it that way. So now I'm classically caught between a rock and a hard place. All right, where I don't want to root for the Eagles, but I don't want to deal with the Giants. Everyone thinks now Daniel Jones is Jesus Christ that's come back. I understand he had a great game. It was against a bad defense, against the quarterback on the other side of the field that's known for not playing well in big games. Now, it wasn't really his fault that they lost. Bottom line is there is no way in hell Daniel Jones is doing what he did against Minnesota against this D-line. There's no way Philadelphia is letting this happen, even in the slightest, okay? Either way, so my prediction of the game could be a little biased. I don't know. And I don't know where I'm rooting, but I'll tell you where I think is going to happen. I think this is so obviously a Eagles cover. I think it's so obvious. It could even get ugly. It can become a blowout. When you look at just how much more talented they are at every position for the most part, really. You look at how if it wasn't for a little stumbling and bumbling and fumbling because Jalen Hurts gets hurt at the end of the year, and how, I mean, the Giants put up a good fight with Webb at the end of the year when the Eagles kind of needed the game, and how the Giants obviously have won 2 Super Bowls in weird kind of underdog fashion. They think it's like in the DNA. I'm getting tired of it. The Eagles should really just come home and do their fucking thing. And by what I mean by that is, I mean, shove it down their fucking throats, the Giants, and smoke them. Now, that might not happen. We don't know. But the bottom line is, if I was taking this game, I would take all day long Eagles -7.5. It wouldn't even be a question to me. And I could be completely wrong. I thought similar about the Vikings, but not like this. I thought Giants could have a chance to win. This, just because of the sheer, people are calling up the fan. They're talking about how, oh my God, as Giants fans are calling up, they're going, oh my God, this is a gift. 7.5, it's a gift. This is a gift. Ease up, bud. Ease up. All right? Ease up and make zero mistake. The Jets do a little boom, boom, boom. They sign maybe even Derek Carr, nothing crazy, and they get a much better OC in there. Hopefully, maybe Frank Reich, if he doesn't want to be a head coach anymore, he comes and slots in as the OC. This is a great team. I mean, if you're talking about the Jets with probably one of the best secondaries in football, Sauce, don't even have to talk about Sauce, and then on the offensive side of the ball, and obviously Q, one of the best tackles in the league. Then you get on the opposite side of the ball. I mean, just a young, incredible at the skill positions, incredible. Breece Hall back, fully healthy, is going to be something to watch. Garrett Wilson's my favorite player in the NFL. If they just get a quarterback, they're ready to go. They got to improve the offensive line. We know that. So that's why I'm a little against Lamar at that position here, at that trade, just because you're going to have to give up so many picks for that and spend a lot of money for a guy who's very risky when it comes to injuries. And that means that you're giving up that first-round pick that you're going to take a nice lineman with. So I don't know about that. Bottom line is, again, Giants, I just can't see it happening. But I love Tiki Barber, so I kind of am rooting for that. I'm all tossed up. But bottom line is, Eagles -7.5. Now, next game we got on Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. is probably the most perplexing game of the evening, which is the Cincinnati Bengals at the Buffalo Bills. Now, Bills have been weird this year. We all know that. They kind of have just slid by. Allen's been sloppy pretty much the whole year. On top of that, Cincinnati started off slow, we all know, and got so hot. They're probably the hottest team in the playoffs coming in from the regular season besides San Francisco. And, I mean, when you got Joe Cool behind center, or under center, I should say, it's just really exciting. Now, I don't know where to go. This emotional Damar Hamlin thing, I think people are putting too much weight into. But at the same time, I think these teams are both flawed. So, and they just seem like they're great because of the quarterback situation. Really everyone, the Cincinnati offense is fucking incredible. It really is. And Francesa says this a lot, and it's true. The Bills are just missing something. I don't know what it is. It's actually interesting. A caller called in yesterday, or not called in, but an email guy, because it's on the fucking Bet Rivahzz podcast, okay? We're talking about play Shugah in Connecticut, okay? And anyway, so this guy said, listen, Mike, you've been talking about how there's a missing link in this Bills organization, this Bills roster, this Bills team this year. Could it be that the missing link is Brian Daboll himself? And that's a good point. I don't know if that's true because it's really not been the offense, but to kind of continue to summarize this, Mike made a good point, and he's talking about how he doesn't think that anyone's keeping Josh accountable at the quarterback position when he's making these dumb fucking throws and he's throwing away games like he threw away in the first half of the Dolphins game where, they could have been up easy money, 21-0, and they had to settle for a field goal. And we can go on and on and on about that. No one holds him accountable. He's kind of like the king. They just kind of like bow down to him, which is good because you want a guy to be the leader in that respect. That big, larger than life type shit. But I don't know. It's getting too much, and it's going to bite them in the ass. I think. I can't see them winning the Super Bowl. Will they get past Cincinnati? Maybe. But bottom line is this game is too close for me to call in terms of if I'm getting 5.5 for Cincinnati, I'm taking that all day long. Taking it all day long. Literally write that down, sign, seal, and deliver it. Cincinnati plus 5.5 with all you got. Give me all you got. Put the mortgage on it. Put everything on it. Put that cigarette boat you've been wanting to get that's $1 million, the AMG one that only drives around in the European waters. Forget about buying that. Put all that money. Cincinnati plus 5.5. And now let's get to the last game of the weekend, which quite possibly, besides the Eagles-Giants, just because of my geographical interests and biases, I think that could be the most shocking coin flip game there is because you have an extremely talented roster in San Francisco. We all know it. But the biggest, let's put it this way. Young quarterback in Trevor Lawrence doesn't matter because Kansas City is just going to beat them and they're better. You have Danny Dimes, who has kind of been proven. He's been in the league for quite some time. He's mature, and I think he's going to come in focused. And then on the other side, you got obviously Hurts, who I can't see him having a crazy mental breakdown. He's always been a winner, even in college. So you look at that, nothing of issue. Then Cincinnati and Buffalo, two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, are going at it. Not an issue. And that's where this game gets a little interesting because San Fran, we're talking about a guy in Brock Purdy who he didn't look too hot in the first half. He looked a little bit nervous, looked a little bit deer in the headlights, and I understand that because he truly is inexperienced. You got Trevor Lawrence was playing in the biggest games in the world in college. Clearly, it's his second year. Brock Purdy's a true, just young little kid, and that's why it was impressive to me that he figured it out. He righted the ship in the second half of the Seattle game, and it looked like they had no issues, but anything can happen in the San Fran game because of that. So I think it's a very interesting game because of that reason. I also think that the greater public is writing off Dallas as they always do because of their history. The last 20-something years, it's been an absolute disaster, and I don't blame them because, my whole childhood has been just failure after TO, after Romo botching a hold on the kick, after just all of these disgusting and embarrassing losses. But they're a good squad. They got a lot of talent. And I understand San Francisco, they beat them in that category of talent. But again, when you got a guy who's so inexperienced at quarterback and you got a guy on the other side of the line like Micah Parsons who doesn't give a shit, it can get dicey. And by the way, if I got to see one more time watching a Cowboys game, They got to pan up to Jerry Jones after every little thing the team does, good or bad. Dak misses a little pass. They got to pan up to Jerry Jones with his $5 haircut. What are you going to Supercuts? I mean, really, what are you going to Supercuts, bro? I mean, come on. You're a billionaire. You're an oil tycoon. He's going to Sports Clips. He's getting the triple play. They're giving him a little massage. They're spraying him with the oil, the alcohol, and then they're fucking putting a tin bowl over his head, and they're cutting it with a scissor. I mean, what is with these NFL owners and bad haircuts, bro? You're a billionaire. Allen Mark Davis, R.I.P. to one of them. I mean, they had worse haircuts than Jerry Jones over this shit. So people write off the Dallas Cowboys, and I don't blame them. Having said that, they're a talented roster, and I think this year they're slipping under the cracks. They're slipping a little bit under the cracks. I still think San Fran edges this ball game out, but it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a fucking tough one. It's going to be a fucking tough one. So let's say this. Let's say I'm taking Dallas with the points, with the pizzoints, all right? Because I think Brock Purdy's the great equalizer here. He could tell JohnnyKith to go fuck himself, and he could have a nice little game there, and Nick Bosa could run all over Dak Prescott, and then the game's over, and it's a 55-point blowout. That could definitely happen. Having said that, I think it's gonna be a little tight. I think it's a little bit tight. So that's what I got here. Let's go over this for a second. I got Jacksonville not covering whatsoever, so I got Kansas City -7.5 or -9.5. Then we got my favorite game of the week, and we got the Eagles covering 7.5 all day long, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Next game, we got a very tough coin flip type game, Joey Cool versus Josh. I'm a loose guy. I'm a risky guy. I take risks, Allen, but I'll run over you if I want. I'm the next evolution of Ben Roethlisberger, Allen. But I got Cincinnati +5.5 because it's just too many points to not take. And then lastly, in a surprise of it all, I have Dallas taking the points. You know why? Because Brock Purdy, little kid, little maybe inexperienced. Seattle just wasn't good enough to take advantage of that in the first half. I know they were leading at the half, but they weren't really doing their thing in the first half because they're not that good. But Dallas is better, and I think Micah Parsons is going to do a little bit of right into Brock Purdy's heart. He's going to do a little Matt Milano on Mike White, if you will. And then when you got no Brock, and I don't even know, because Jimmy G, I don't think is going to be able to go. So, yeah, it's a wild one. I don't even know. Trey Lance is on a hospital bed somewhere, so I don't know who would even be starting here. I could be missing a big name on a backup sense, but I don't know. So, yeah, I got Dallas with the points. So, those are my NFL picks. I hope you liked them. This is a quick little sports podcast on the JohnnyCast, a little quick one. Johnny's moving quickly. He's moving with momentum, okay? At 35,000 views in the last TikTok. I know I mentioned it in the beginning of the video, but I'm going to mention it again because it's awesome, because I love it, because I walk around with a little pep in my step. Today I was in the gym. I was walking with a little pep, walking with a little salt and pep in my step, all right? So I'm going to go. Have a great weekend, everybody, and just remember, be safe out there, kids. Bye.